Hi, everybody. I'm Elle, compulsive overeater, and like everybody here, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I turn it over to my sponsor. I don't eat in between, and it continues to be the very most important thing I do in a day. And I'm absent by the grace of God and the support of this community worldwide. And my absent date is August 9th, 1992. And so grateful to be one amongst many today because that's not who I was before I came to these rooms. Before I came to these rooms, I was certainly very much the individual, very much that person that was terminally unique. I didn't want to be part of. I didn't want to certainly be part of a group of people who weigh and measure their foods. There's nothing in my mind, there was nothing very, sexy about that, nothing very hip about it. But it was a solution. And it was the solution to the problem that I had. The solution to the problem that I still have if left untreated. And, I am someone who, like most people here, couldn't control my food, but didn't want to give up control of my food. I think the hardest thing was turning it over and letting somebody else take care of my food or this disease. I always thought I knew everything, and I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to know that at some point, if I was weighing and measuring my food, that I could decide maybe to weigh and measure something else. I wanted to have options. Options got me in trouble. Options got me where I am today. Me controlling my food and what that world looked like got me really, really miserable. Not only did I hate being in my body because my body wasn't the body I wanted, but I hated being in my head. Things would just go, anything would trigger me. I was super sensitive. My skin was not very thick, although I put up a good armor to keep people away. But I really was somebody who, just hated myself. I hated that I could not control what happened between those 12 inches between your hand and your mouth. I tried every diet like everybody else here. And I guess because I got abstinent, I guess it's going to be almost 31 years. There were a couple of fad diets I missed. But I did, I always say I did the Alba, I did the Melba, I did Weight Watchers several times. I exercised like crazy. That was one of the ways I controlled not a lower weight or not being able to control being fit. I wasn't necessarily fit. I didn't look like I was somebody that worked out like crazy for hours and hours. But I was able to maintain that higher weight and not go beyond it. And I guess for me, I spent a lot of time walking around the streets eating. And being in New York was the perfect place for it. I got abstinent in New York, and it was the perfect place to get abstinent because there was a community at the time and we had live meetings. but it was also the worst place to be if you were in the disease, because everybody in New York looked good. Um, Everybody in New York walked. Everybody in New York, belonged to a gym. Uh, it's not a city where people were stationary. It was a really mobile town. And there was food everywhere. And there was food open, like real food places open 24 hours a day. Not just drive-throughs, real gourmet places. And where I am now, it's not like that. I mean, when I first got to Florida, it was, I didn't understand it. How can supermarkets close at 10 o'clock at night? I mean, it was, I just didn't understand it. I lived in a building, a high-rise building that had a supermarket in the, lower level. And I could, which I did many times, I'd wear my nightgown underneath my winter coat and I'd go to the supermarket and I would, stand there and try to figure it out what was going to do it for me. And I would just stand there and I'd look down those aisles and, was it going to be the sweet? Was it going to be the salty? Was it going to be the crunchy? Was it going to be the creamy? How could I coordinate, mix it all together? And what happened was towards the end, I would stand there and nothing would do it. I just could no longer get that hit, that high that I would get from the food until I didn't, until the next morning came when I promised myself I wasn't going to, eat again. Today I would start that diet. Today I would be a good girl. Except today came, the morning came, and I just had to retrieve whatever I put in the garbage that I swore I wasn't going to eat. So I tossed it in there. I had to, try my best to white knuckle it, but it never worked. I always suffered from this disease from a very, very young age. It was the first drug of choice for me because it happened when I was probably, I don't even remember. I feel like it happened in the womb, but I know 3 years old, I was definitely compulsively eating. And when I found GreySheet, it was something that, I wasn't going there to surrender, honestly. I found it through the regular rooms of OA. The regular rooms for OA, I walked around there for about 9 months, not abstinent, trying to get abstinent, but not wanting to be abstinent because I didn't want to live in the solution. I wanted to, complain. I wanted to say, but, you don't understand. I'm so unique. I'm so different. I can't do this. I have food allergies. I have other allergies. I just can't do this. I'm different. And so I, went to those rooms all night long and I sat in meetings after work and I didn't get it. And it was a good place for me to be because I didn't know about 12-step programs before. And it just allowed me to sit there till I was ready for GreySheet. And somehow, one day I got to the rooms. And I got to the rooms through somebody that was very honest in the OA rooms. And she was doing this with exception, but I heard honesty. And that was something that I didn't understand. I didn't understand the whole idea of honesty because I spent so much time lying about what I was eating and lying to people and lying to myself. I put on a very good front. I always look like I was good in front of other people. And as soon as I could get out of that restaurant or out of that place, I was off to the races. So this woman said to me, you don't have to eat today, that was a foreign concept because my freezer was full. There was no reason. My refrigerator was full. The cupboards were full. Why would I stop eating today? So I waited to the end of the week and I went to this place called Jan Hus in Manhattan. And that was the first meeting I ever went to on a Friday night. And it was definitely standing room only. It was really hot. And people were talking about not eating no matter what. And I just wanted that gray sheet. That's all I wanted. I didn't know that a gray sheet came with a sponsor. Today I know gray sheet comes with a sponsor. When I found that sponsor,
That's 10 minutes.
thank you. I didn't say how, I wasn't going to jump, you know. They said, oh, jump how high? Surrender to win. That made no sense to me. Give up what I've been doing my way, even though it didn't work. Why would I do that? So I went to this room. I listened to all these people that were either dying or crying or excited about the corner table, seat at the corner table, or something else that sounded utterly ridiculous to me. And people that were standing in this room that was hot with a fan that was squeaking and cars going up and down the road honking their horns. And why would they be in a room like this? There's no room for people to even sit, and they want to kill themselves, but they're not going to eat no matter what. Okay, so I stayed to the end, and I thought I would grab that gray sheet, but of course they said, "Oh, you go with you. She needs a sponsor. This is a sponsor. You're a sponsee. You two go together." Well, of course, I was coming there with a lot of judgments, and I was coming there with this terminal uniqueness. And they said to me, she's going to help you. And she wanted to take me to one of those maybe Korean places in Manhattan that had, those salad bars, and get me the thing that we all are told to eat when we first get abstinent and there's nothing else to eat and it's easily measured or not measured. And I had 1,000 reasons why I couldn't do it. I'm allergic to that. I'm allergic to this. I had so many reasons. And she said, you can call me tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said, what do you mean 5 o'clock in the morning? Don't you know that's not me? I don't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't talk to anybody at 5 o'clock in the morning. She said, you can call me at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I said, my business partner doesn't come to me till 9:30. I can't. She says, you know what? I'll speak to you at 5 in the morning. Do not ask me how. I called that next day, 5 o'clock. It was not me. It was definitely something greater than me, because left to my own devices, there's no way I would do that. And somehow, by the grace of God, because I do know today that there is somebody that is in my life other than me, that runs my life. When I allow my higher power, who I call God, to do that, my life goes smoothly. And I was graced, I was blessed, and I stayed abstinent ever since, a day at a time, no matter what. For, I guess, August 9th will be 31 years. And to me, that's miraculous. To me, I don't even know how that happened. I don't even know how I do this. Now, after all these years, it's more on the rote side. And that's why I have to come to meetings, because it's a little more mechanical, and it's not something that, sometimes I can take it for granted because it's something I do and I don't have that monkey on my back. So I have to work double time. I have to come to meetings all the time. I have to do service. And, it was all about me before, but I learned now that through working with others, I get so much more. I finally have like a little group of sponsees. I have 3 sponsees, and it's taken a long time to find people that will stick. And I've got one person that made it over 90 days. I have another person that's got 50 some odd days. And I have somebody that's under 14 days, maybe. And everybody is really surrendered. And that's such a gift to not be with people that are, asking you, why not? Why can't, when this is the why not meeting, why can't I have that? I'm so grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I got here and I was willing to do whatever it took to stay and get abstinent. And many of you know that I've gone through a lot of no matter whats. I'm the person that's car got hit by a train and got supported through the Gray Sheet community and stayed abstinent through that period of time. Okay, that's the end. And I also lost my mother and sister 3 months apart from one another during the pandemic. And I know a lot of people lost a lot of people in Gray Sheet lost a lot of, people that were close to them. And I couldn't have done this if I wasn't in Gray Sheet, because I get more than just 3 amazingly delicious way to measure meals a day. And I love my food. I get a community. And there's always somebody that's come before me that has dealt with something. So I can always tap into that. And I'm grateful to be here today and to have been part of this group. And with that, I'll pass.